What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to the stream. Let me get comments pulled up on my end. Let me get comments pulled up on my end real quick. Alright, there we go. We got comments pulled up on my end. Right there. Let me also let the Discord know that we are live. We are live. What's up, Sanchez? First to the stream today. How you doing? It's good to see you, bro. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So today, guys, we always touch on thoughts every so often here on the channel. Every other stream, it's kind of getting to the point where one day we talk about how don't be too afraid of your thoughts. Don't be too willing to take them too seriously, right? And then we talk about physical feelings. We talk about acceptance of physical feelings. Dr. Claire Weeks' acceptance, just getting on with life. Those positive, accepting behaviors. So today we are going to be talking about thoughts. Today we are going to be talking about thoughts. More specifically, the sensitized anxiety state is making you not think straight, and that's okay. That is what we're going to be talking about today. What's up, Arnold? What's up, Blake? What's up, Rita? Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. So, also before we get officially started here, you guys probably noticed that the Vacate Fear Facebook group is wiped clean. I wiped it clean, and it's just a few posts on there now. There's just literally just a few posts on there, and I did that for a reason because I felt like the Facebook group was really becoming more like a forum. It was becoming more like a place where people could go and, uh, not on purpose, but could go and use it as like an anxiety forum. And honestly, that's never been my objective with this channel. My objective with this channel is to tell you, hey, don't fear fear. Accept those feelings, positive behavior, retrain that brain, Dr. Claire Weeks, and let's get on with life. So, you know, that's always been my blunt, straightforward approach with this channel. And I never, ever want to become someone who, not that there's anything, I guess, specifically wrong with it. It's just, in my opinion, I don't ever want to run an anxiety forum or anything like that, really. I kind of want to give people straightforward advice, and if they want to use it, by all means they can use it. If they don't, they don't have to. And if it helps, it helps, and just get people on their way back into living. So, if you're wondering, oh, where did all the posts go in the Facebook group? That's why I did that. That's why I made that decision. I want to give people straightforward advice. I want people to use it, and if they want to use it, that is, and really start to get on with their life and start to heal and put this thing behind them. And that's always been my goal. So that's why I made that choice on the Facebook group. Intrusive thoughts are the worst. Yeah, when you're in that anxiety state, they seem way more important than they actually are. They seem way more important than they actually are. John's talking about his thoughts too. Um, you know, as far as those thoughts go, and I guess, guys, I guess what we'll do. Hold on. I guess we'll go ahead and jump right into the stream. Yeah, I know, 2 days with no face cam. I'm just chilling. With a little bit of a different setup, so forgive me. Face cam will be back. However, I guess we'll just jump right into it. So the thing about those intrusive thoughts is, guys, you know, those thoughts that pop up without your say so. And here on the channel, we have never wanted anyone to villainize their mind. We have never wanted to say, oh, my mind is the enemy. We just simply want to say that when you're in the anxiety state, you're going to get a lot of worst case scenario thoughts. You're going to get a lot of what if thinking. You're going to get a lot of very negative, dominantly negative thoughts. And that's a part of being in the anxiety state, right? Dr. Claire Weeks talks a lot about this, how, you know, when people get into this state, she's got several chapters in her book, I believe, that addresses all sorts of thinking. Um, and the thing about it is, and what I really want to address today when I say the anxiety state is making you think, okay? The anxiety state is making you think not straight. You're not thinking straight in the anxiety state. What I mean by that is not that you're losing your mind or going crazy or anything like that. I just want you to understand something that's very crucial, and I know that you probably can't glimpse it right now. You might be able to glimpse it from time to time during your recovery, but it might be difficult at first. But I really want it to sink in that this what if thinking and these case scenario thoughts, if you weren't sensitized, you would be able to more than likely easily brush them off. The fact that they create such a strong reaction in the body makes you want to fight with them. And this is the cycle. You fight with these thoughts, and these thoughts tend to grow stronger. So I'm not asking you to suppress your thoughts. I'm not asking you to, oh God, don't think that, don't think that. I'm not asking you to fight your thoughts off. I'm not asking you to do anything like that. At the end of the day, all I'm saying is when these thoughts come, you need to start giving them less credit. When these thoughts come, you need to stop getting so entangled. And we sometimes say, you can remind yourself simply, oh, just leave it alone, there it is. I accept that thought. And, at first, this might feel like pretty difficult to do, right? Because these thoughts, they do come in and they say all sorts of things, and they really shake you up in the sensitized state. The fact of the matter is, if you weren't sensitized, and the fact of the matter is, if you weren't in the state that you were in, these thoughts probably wouldn't have came at all. And if they would have, you would be able to be rational about them. But because you're in the state you're in, they seem very overwhelming. They seem very overbearing because of the state that you're in. And that's what we want you to understand. We don't want you to say, okay, here, take the impossible task of never thinking this thought again. Here, take the impossible task of never having this thought pop up, right? Because we're not in control. We're not in control of these thoughts that come. We're not. They pop up, and by the time they popped up, they've already popped up. So it's like we're not telling you to suppress your thoughts. We're simply telling you when a thought arises, you have a choice, and that's to fight with it or not fight with it. And there's a difference between being rational, but the thing about it is, if you could be rational with these thoughts, you probably already would have, right? So if you can see if you can find within you a new way to look at these thoughts, or maybe there's a problem solution to this problem I wasn't considering before, okay, fine, because if you do that, then you're probably not going to have the thought again anyway. Right? But for those of you who are experiencing those negative intrusive thoughts that don't really seem to have a solution, that you can't really be rational with, you've tried to be rational with, and maybe you can be a little rational but you just can't fully glimpse it yet, whatever. For those of you who are having those thoughts that they come uninvited and they cause such a reaction, and it seems like no matter what you do with them, no matter how you try to look at them, you might be able to be a little bit rational, but it's just like it feels like a losing battle, man. And I understand that completely. So, you know, what I want to tell you is we're not asking you to do the impossible, which is to never have this thought again. Because you're in this state, this thought probably will come again. But what I am saying is, if you want to give something new a try, okay, fighting with these thoughts is what's keeping you in that fight or flight response. And I've got a little thing pulled up. I'm not exactly sure where I got it from, but I try to come to these streams with some borrowed knowledge. And it says, anxious thoughts are stubborn thoughts. The more you tell them to be nice, the more they'll worry you. Fighting anxiety when you're in the thick of it is like thrashing around in a current. It makes things worse. Anxiety is a fight or flight response, remember. So the more you fight your anxious thoughts, the more your brain will fuel you up for the fight, right? So that's why I say, if you can be rational with your thoughts, chances are you probably already would have. You probably wouldn't be suffering with these thoughts, because if you could put them to rest, chances are you probably already would have put them to rest. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here on the channel. You would be watching this video if you could put these thoughts to rest, which I know you've already tried, because I know there's not a single person out there that just says, oh, I'm going to go watch this anxiety video and, I'm not even going to try to put my thoughts to rest. No, chances are you've already tried struggling with them. Chances are you've already tried to put them to rest. Chances are you've already tried to be rational with them. So now that we're in this place, it's like, well, we've tried all that we can really do. Okay, we tried all that we can really do, and what do we do now? And that's where that little quote that I just read comes into play. Understand that you are in the fight or flight response. You are in the sensitized state, the anxiety state. Understand that once you come out of the sensitized state, the anxiety state, these thoughts are not going to be as imposing as they are. These thoughts are not going to cause the reaction that they're causing now. And some people think, yeah, well, that's easier said than done because these thoughts seem pretty dang serious. And the fact of the matter is, they might seem pretty dang serious, but you are still in the fight or flight system, right? You are still in the anxiety system. You are still in the sensitized nerves. So even though these thoughts might seem pretty dang serious, okay, and to you they might be pretty dang serious, but the fact of the matter still remains, you are in the anxiety state. You are in the sensitized state. You have a very overactive amygdala. You have a sensitized body, right? So, what would happen if these same thoughts came to you when you were not in a sensitized body, when you did not have an overactive amygdala? What would happen? Chances are you would be able to be very, very rational about them, right? Chances are you would be able to be very, very rational about them. Chances are you would be able to see them in a new way that you probably couldn't have seen before while in the anxiety state. Chances are you would have these thoughts and you could see them in a totally new way and be able to brush them off. Now, in the current state that you're in, you probably think that's not possible. But here's the thing, like I just said, chances are you've already tried to put these thoughts to rest. Chances are you've fought with them for weeks on end, months on end. Chances are you've already done all that, or else you wouldn't have landed up on my channel, right? Because if you tried all that and that was successful, then you wouldn't be here. If you tried all that and that was successful, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video. So I am addressing you, all of you out there who have tried your best to fight with these thoughts tooth and nail, who have tried your best to put them to rest, and it just seems like it won't happen. I'm talking to you because I want you to understand that while you are in this anxiety state, the best thing that you can try to do now, since you have tried already being rational, you have tried already fighting with these thoughts, the best thing you can do now is to stop fighting with them, which I know is easier said than done at first. I know the temptation to fight with them is easier said than done. But understand this, I'm not telling you to do the impossible. I'm not telling you to never have these thoughts again. I'm not telling you to suppress them. I'm not trying to tell you to do anything with them. I'm literally telling you to do less, which is if you've already tried the fighting thing, if you've already tried the rationality thing and it's not working out for you, how about we try the opposite direction, and instead of fighting or trying to suppress or whatever, we simply notice when these thoughts come, accept them, and instead of getting involved in fighting with them, we remind ourselves a fight is going to tell the body to stay in fight or flight. So if I fight with these thoughts, which I've already tried to do for a very long time, then it's just going to continue to tell my body to stay in the fight or flight mode, because a fight is a fight, whether you're fighting with your feelings or your thoughts. Now, that's not saying you can't be a more rational person. That's not saying you can't be a more positive person, right? About life, about real life, about, you know, things that are happening in your life currently. That's not saying you can't be a rational person. That's not saying you can't daydream. That's not saying you can't use your mind ever again. That is simply saying we are addressing these negative intrusive thoughts. It is simply saying that if you've tried fighting them for so long and that's not getting you anywhere, let's try not fighting them, because this fight is keeping you in the fight or flight response. Now, the funny thing that's going to happen, right? When you take this approach, I'm sorry, I'm moving things around over here. When you take this approach, the funny thing that's going to happen is it might not feel like it's working at first. But as I said, you've already tried the opposite way. So what's going to happen is, although it might not feel like it's working at first, And although it seems like not fighting with these thoughts is going against everything you believe in, right? Or everything you stand for. That's going to seem like that at first. And at first you're going to be like, "Okay, well, I'm not seeing any difference." But the more you do this, the more you notice these thoughts, just accept that they came because we can't do anything about them coming, and stop fighting with them. Just simply remind yourself, if you need to remind yourself, there's that thought. Oh, there's that thought, right? But we don't need to do anything outside of that. We don't need to get up there. We don't need to get into a fight with it. We don't need to get into a fist fight with it. We don't need to do anything outside of that, right? So at first, it may not seem like this is getting you anywhere. But I want you to understand that the less you fight, the more you're starting to enter into that rest system. The more you're starting to prove to your brain that there is no real tiger. And then once this happens, you start to enter into what's called, or what I call, the real you. And once you enter into the real you, you are going to find those same thoughts laughable. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. These thoughts are anything but laughable. Okay? uh, you know, that's what the mind wants to tell you. Yeah, right, buddy. These things are anything but laughable, okay? But understand that once you stop fighting, and again, I know I'm sound like a broken record here, but we're not asking you to do the impossible. We're not asking you to never think these thoughts again. That would be suppression. We're not asking you to suppress the thoughts. We're simply asking you to leave them alone. And if you need to remind yourself, oh, there's that thought. You don't have to do anything outside of that. Instead of fighting with it, you just remind yourself, okay, well, whatever, all right, okay, whatever, sure. Um, I know how you're totally convinced that these thoughts are going to haunt you, you know, for the rest of your days. Okay, I know that these thoughts feel like they're just going to bug you for the rest of your living days. I know that you don't think you can ever see these thoughts in a new light. I know that you think these thoughts are the end all. I know that you think that you're never going to be that person who can see these thoughts in a different way. You're never going to be that person who can be, not react so strongly to these thoughts. You're never going to, I know you think all these things. I know you think all these things. And it's because I used to think that way too, right? I used to think that way too. Nico says, I have this problem whenever I start feeling less anxious and the adrenaline calms down, I get worried I won't calm down fully and I'll stay in this anxiety loop forever. So, again, there's no need to fight. There's no need to fight. I understand it feels like, oh, because I've been there, dude, and my thoughts were different than yours, obviously. A lot of us experience different thoughts. But the thing about it is that you're convinced that you can't get out of the anxiety response for this reason or another, whether it's because of a thought or a feeling or thoughts about the feeling or whatever. But the thing about it is that you need to understand is you are in full control of whether or not you stay in the anxiety response based on whether or not you're fighting. If you're fighting with your intrusive negative thoughts, and again, your mind's not a villain. I'm not telling you, oh, never think again. I'm not telling you, oh, never use your mind ever again. I'm simply telling you with these negative intrusive thoughts, right? The ones that are keeping you in the anxiety cycle, when you get into a fight with these thoughts and these feelings, you're keeping your body in fight or flight mode, right? And that's what I need you to understand, because I used to think the same thing you did, that unless I dealt with, that I found the solution to this or this, that I would stay in this mode. But understand, as long as you drop the fight, you are in charge of whether or not you stay in fight or flight mode, right? Understand that as long as you drop the fight against these thoughts and feelings, these negative intrusive thoughts that, that pop up that you don't want to think, and these feelings that come and go, as long as you drop the fight against them, right, to the best of your ability and continue to practice this, you're going to be all right, because you're in charge now. You're in charge, and that's what I really want you to understand. And that is the main point of today's stream, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you use it. All right, guys. And like I said, you're simply you're being bluffed, right? You're being bluffed. You're absolutely being bluffed. And that's, I know that's easy for me to say, coming from a place of not being sensitized now. I know that's easy for me to say, but I was once where you are, and if you drop the fight against these thoughts and feelings, you will start to wake up to the true you. You will start to wake up to the true you. And I know that kind of feels like a leap of faith, but you've tried the opposite for so long. And I know you have, because you wouldn't be here if you had it. You've tried the fighting thing for so long, right? And you see how far it's gotten you. So that's the thing. If people are on my channel, then I know for a fact they wouldn't be here if if the fighting thing worked out for them. Because if the fighting thing worked out for them, they wouldn't have been searching for those keywords and eventually found my channel, right? So that's how I can confidently say, well, obviously the fighting thing's not working out, so maybe we'll try a bit of a different approach, right? Maybe we'll try a bit of a different approach. We all need someone to lean on. Sorry, I've got this song stuck in my head today, dude. I've got that song stuck in my head. But yeah, guys, if you're wondering what happened, what happened to the Vacate Fear group, um, which a lot of you probably here now are not very concerned about that. But if you were over there and you're wondering what happened to it, I wiped it clean because it was becoming too much of an anxiety form, which is not helping anybody. Believe it or not, it's simply not helping anybody. It was getting, you know, I don't want to say it was getting out of control because it wasn't, but I don't know. I didn't want it to turn into an anxiety form because I've never been that guy. That's never been my goal. I'm not trying to run an anxiety form here. I'm not trying to, that's not my goal. So, yeah, I think you just summed it up and put it there the best. You can't see clearly when you're sensitized. I think you summed it up and put it the best there. You can't see clearly when you're sensitized, so it's like understand that and let's not fight with those thoughts, right? Understand that and let's not fight with those thoughts. Let me see here, guys. Sorry, I'm just getting something pulled up. Just getting something pulled up here. So that's kind of the way I look at it. When people find my channel, when people find me, when people find Vacate Fear, I have to understand and I have to look at it this way. Chances are, well, not even chances, I know for a fact that none of you watching this stream now would be here if you wouldn't have got on Google. Obviously, that's how you find a YouTube channel, and search something like how to make anxiety go away, or something along those lines. Whatever, there's a million different things you could have searched. But nobody who wasn't already in that bad place wouldn't have, or that sensitized place. I don't want to call it bad, it's a journey. Would have found my channel. Because A, if you weren't having anxiety troubles, you wouldn't have searched it to begin with or clicked on anything related to it to begin with. Um, you know, and B, obviously you are having troubles because you wouldn't have followed it through. So the fact that you're here now tells me one thing. The fact that you're here now tells me one thing. You've been struggling, right? You've tried to fight with your thoughts because that's the first thing we do. Before we hit Google, before we hit Google, we try to fight with the thoughts and feelings. And before we hit Google, we try to argue with it all, right? And because that doesn't work, then we hit Google. So the fact that you're here now tells me one thing: you've been fighting for a long time. You've been fighting for a long time, and very clearly, due to you being here, that's just not working out, right? So, like I said, we're not asking anybody to do the impossible. If you want to give this a go, all we are asking you is to get back into your daily life, and we're not telling you to exert yourself. It's a, smile, sing, go throughout your day, show your brain what's up. You don't have to exert yourself. You don't have to do that a crazy amount. You don't have to do that until you hit the floor. So positive accepting behaviors basically just means live your life, right, like you normally would. And, you know, those thoughts that you've obviously been trying to fight with for so long and you're not getting anywhere, let's drop the fight. And again, we're not saying, oh, never think again, never use your mind again, your mind is a villain. We're simply saying, with those negative intrusive thoughts that you've tried to fight for so long, or else you wouldn't be here again, right? Let's try to do the opposite. And, when they come, we simply remind ourselves, okay, like that comment in the chat says, you can't see clearly when you're sensitized. So just remind yourself of that. Whatever you want your little reminder to be, and leave it at that. Can you be sensitized for over 14 years? Not in the severe sensitized state. Not you can be an anxious person. You can be have bouts of sensitization. Here and there, but yeah, 14 years straight of severe sensitization, that's unheard of. So what chances are what you're going through right now is not that. It's simply that you're a sensitive person, right? And now you're learning the skills to kind of reverse that. So you're fine. You're doing good. Yeah, another way you could put that is you see everything through the perspective of, the sensitized state when you're in the sensitized state, right? So that's another way you could put that. And that's why you don't really have to fight with any of that. It's not the real you. I call it the fake state. Yeah, you can be a worry wor a war worry wart, and you can be an anxious person or whatever. But those bouts, they come and go. But now we're kind of showing you the way to where you won't have to deal with those bouts like that. Yeah, well, that's what panic does. It makes you want to run. That's why we call it fight or flight, and that's why Dr. Claire Weeks says, you know, second fear. Second fear is when you fight. Second fear is when you fight. So yeah, it might feel overwhelming in the moment, but the more you practice this, the better you'll get at it. So stop fighting. That's what Dr. Claire Weeks says. That's what it comes down to, guys. I know that's easier said than done, but that's why we use the word practice a lot. Yeah, anxiety doesn't just turn into them. Yeah, exactly. So we get on Google and we do this and we're just fighting. You're causing the anxiety you don't want to feel by fighting with it all. Oof. I bet that felt like a low blow, didn't it? I bet that felt like a low blow, didn't it? How dare you say something so controversial? I understand that you guys feel like you have to fight these feelings, but how long have you been doing it? I understand you guys feel like you have to fight these thoughts, but how long have you been doing it? And like I said, I'm not saying, oh, never use your mind again. Your mind is a horrible, awful villain. I'm simply saying these negative, intrusive thoughts that you have nothing to do with, you didn't ask for them, and you try to fight them, 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 right? I know you guys feel like you have to do that in order to get relief. But I'm going to say it again, even though it's a little controversial. You fighting your thoughts and feelings is the reason you are staying in this state, right? So I know that feels like a low blow. Let's take a minute to really take that in. I know that feels like a low blow. I know that feels like, how dare you say that? How I don't want to stay in this state, and I know you don't want to stay in this state. I get that. I never said you don't want to, stay in this state. I simply said that you fighting with these thoughts and feelings are keeping you in the fight or flight response. That's what I'm telling you. Because a fight to the brain, what does a fight to the brain mean, guys? A fight to the brain means danger, 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 right? A fight to the brain means danger, danger, danger. So understand that. Understand that. Understand that. Understand that. Right? And I know it's easier said than done. That's why we use the word practice. Everybody goes at their own pace. But understand this too, guys. If you're going to watch the streams, you got to use it. If you want to use my advice, that's up to you. But if you do make the choice to use it, well, then let's get going, right? Let's get going. When you get these negative, intrusive, scary thoughts that you didn't ask for, don't fight with those, right? Because a fight to the brain means danger. And when you get these scary feelings, don't fight with those. Don't fight with those because a fight to the brain means danger. And I know that's easier said than done. I know that. I know that. That's why I keep saying it. I know that's easier said than done, but that's why we use the word practice so often. That's why we use the word practice so often. And I know it feels like, when you don't fight, it's like you have to accept the unacceptable. I know it feels like that, but you're going to start to enter into that rest digest system. And just like somebody said in the chat earlier, you can't see clearly when you're sensitized. So I know you can't really see it, right? I know you can't really see how your thoughts are not as big of a deal as they're being made out to be right now by the fight or flight system. You just can't see how they could possibly not be as big of a deal as your body is making them out to be. I know you can't see that right now. It's because you are in the fight or flight system, right? So that's why somebody in chat said, you can't see clearly when you're in the sensitized state, and that's very true. That's very true. So we want you to stop trying to fight all these negative intrusive thoughts. You can still use your mind, you can still daydream, whatever if you want. We're not telling you to never think again, but we're just simply telling you, if we get out of the fight or flight system by no longer fighting with these thoughts and feelings and just saying, okay, there it is, whatever, yeah, there's that thought, okay, there's that thought, okay, okay. What we are telling you is that you'll get out of the fight or flight system. That's what we are telling you, right? It doesn't have to be able. No, it doesn't have to be. It's not like a guarantee. It's not like a guarantee or anything like that. That agoraphobia is a part of being in the sensitized state. Yeah, that's not a guarantee. Hey, don't beat yourself up, dude. That's why we call it a practice, man. Nobody here recovered, myself included. Just picked this stuff up. Oh, just practiced this overnight and ran away with it, right? Nobody does that. What's up, David? Banned from chat. Nah, you're not banned from chat. I see you. Yeah, you're not banned from chat. Oh, it's because you're cursing like a sailor. The YouTube bot will automatically hold those for some reason. But I can still see your comment, but it holds it from the rest of the chat. So as far as your question goes, feeling emotionally unstable, God, I can't speak today, is another normal part of being in the sensitized boat. It kind of amplifies everything, right? It kind of amplifies everything a bit. Yeah, I don't know why it automatically holds some messages. Well, I mean, I know why. The cursing, I don't know why that's automatic, though. You'd think you would be able to choose that yourself or whatever, like the channel owner. But apparently you can't. Apparently you can't. Not sure why that is. We all need someone to lean on. It's hard to say, David. I can't really say if drinking the tea gave you a migraine or not. Yeah, that's a tough one, dude. I can't really say without a shadow of a doubt. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, David. Yeah, it's fear that keeps anxiety alive. So, I mean, how does that Dr. Claire Weeks quote go? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Sensitization alone is not enough because without fear, a body will quickly repair its sensitized state. So, easier said than done to, you know, get to the point where you stop fighting with your thoughts and feelings and stop adding so much fear. I know that's easier said than done, but that's why we call it a practice. That's why we call it a practice. We all need someone to lean on. Because I promise you guys, there are different ways to look at your intrusive thoughts that you can't see right now because you're sensitized. I promise you don't have to be as scared of them as you are. And like I said, if you could already be rational and put them to rest, you probably would have already done that. So that's the thing. Like, if you could already have figured out these thoughts, you probably already would have, and you wouldn't be here on my channel. And that's why we say, well, now they've probably became what if thoughts and worst case scenarios that you can't really figure out. And that's why we say, what you do with those is you stop fighting them since you can't figure out a worst case or what if scenario anyway. Again, you have already tried to do that, obviously, or you would have already put them to rest and you wouldn't be here now. So, we all need someone to lean on. Ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba. Don't know why that particular song out of all songs is stuck in my head. But okay. No, you're good, Arnold. I try to get to him when I can, dude. It's just I can't. I literally can't ever get to everybody. I wish I could, but it's between, living my life and the streams, and it's sometimes, things do get buried. I wish I could. Well, sensitization is not a term you need to overthink. It just means that you have tired nerves. So you could be, you might not be. It doesn't really matter. It's still anxiety symptoms. If you've been to a doctor and been told you're dealing with anxiety symptoms, then there you go, right? Then there you go. We can start to go the acceptance route and start to enter into the rest digest instead of the fight or flight by going the acceptance route, which of course everyone that's here, I already assume has been to a doctor, obviously. Yeah, I mean, as far as medication goes, I don't really have anything to say about it. That's like a you choice between you and your doctor. It's completely up to you and your doctor. But can you use acceptance? Yeah, Dr. Claire Weeks mentions that you can. So I was reading, I know some of you guys are fans of the blog post. Well, it's not a blog post; it was actually a book, I believe. I've not read it personally, but a lot of you guys are fans of it. The dare response, which is basically just it's acceptance, from what I know about it. But I was reading a thing on it somebody shared with me, and I believe this was from the dare response. Hold on, and I'll make sure that I really, really liked. And that quote says, "Another way to view the thoughts is as if they were school bullies trying to upset you by saying awful things about, for example, people close to you. If you get scared, the bully continues to taunt even more. If you laugh and say, sure, whatever, then walk away, the bully loses interest." Right? And I know some of you thinking, well, I don't have a choice. They come and they scare me right away. But what you do at that point, you do have that choice. You can start to go a different direction. You can start to go more of a different direction and practice not taking them as seriously and practice laughing in their fucking face, dude. Because these thoughts, they come automatically. They cause a reaction because you're sensitized, and we can either start fighting with them and be very fearful of them, or we can practice, okay? Because I know it doesn't seem natural at first, but we can practice just saying, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to try to fight with you. I'm not going to try to suppress you. I'm not going to be scared of you anymore. We can practice this route, right? And just say to these thoughts, whatever, whatever. Laugh in your face. Laugh in your face. Hold on, I had another thing here I was gonna read. 12 a.m. in India now. It's 2 p.m. here. Let's see. What's up, Mary? How you doing? We all need someone to lean on. Ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum. Hey, continue laughing in their face, Abel. Continue laughing in their face, dude. Hey, sorry, David. I have to remove that comment. It's up to everybody if they want to go the medication route or not. It's up to each individual. It's something that we really can't comment on. No problem though, no problem. It's just something that I let everybody make their own choice on that one. What's up, Steve? How you doing, Steve? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the big blue house. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the big blue house. Yeah, D Nunn, and I've got a whole video on that. I believe I got two whole videos on that if you want to search that up. How many of you guys remember that old kids show, Bear in the Big Blue House? For some reason, that's stuck in my head. But we're not fighting it, man. We're just saying, ha! What's up, Jesse? Yeah, so just more fear, D Dun, right? D9. It's just more fear, afraid of being afraid, right? So it's just fear, and we laugh in the face of fear, dude. We laugh in the face of fear, dude. We don't have to fight those thoughts because we don't have to be afraid of them. We don't have to fight those feelings because we don't have to be afraid of them. If you've not had any like significant, huge problems in your life, fish, like some serious, huge trauma or something that puts you in the sensitized state, like, and then that even then it's not a guarantee. But if you've not had anything like that happen, but even if you have had anything like that happen, regardless of how you ended up in the sensitized state, kind of irrelevant because you're there now. So, and fear keeps the sensitized state kind of, or as Dr. Claire Weeks calls second fear, kind of keeps that sensitized state, alive. So that's why we practice acceptance, laughing in the face of those thoughts and feelings, literally laughing in the face of those thoughts and feelings. Well, it depends on in your head if you're adding a lot of fear to things, right? So, if these negative intrusive thoughts come, if these, we're not saying, oh, never use your mind again. We're simply stop adding the second fear to these thoughts, right? Laugh in the face of these thoughts. That's awesome, Charles. Glad to hear your success, dude. That's amazing. Yeah, congrats, man. Well, it's like we don't really have a say. Um, there is such a thing as intrusive negative thoughts that we're not necessarily creating. They do pop up on their own. You didn't ask for that to happen. But when you fight with them instead of laughing in their face, I get what you're saying. You might fall down the rabbit hole of creation there. So I get what you're saying there. I get what you're saying there completely. Yeah, the making the story thing. When you start, fighting with them. All right, ladies and gents, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream here since we are approaching that 1 hour mark. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for almost 10K subs. I love you guys, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon in the next stream and or video.